Most Americans don't start their mornings feeling careless or irresponsible. They wake up feeling exhausted. Not the kind of tired that disappears after a good night's sleep, but the kind that comes from constantly managing money that never truly feels settled. They followed the path they were told would lead somewhere stable. They went to school, showed up on time, worked full weeks, avoided obvious mistakes. They didn't gamble their future. They didn't chase shortcuts that sounded too good to be true. And still, money feels heavy. Not in a dramatic, headline-worthy way, not through sudden collapse or crisis, more like a quiet pressure that never lets up. A weight that follows them through grocery aisles, gas stations, and casual conversations about prices where everyone pretends it's manageable. Hard work used to carry a clear promise. It meant forward motion. If you worked long enough and tried hard enough, life would gradually open. Bills would ease, saving would come naturally, stability would feel deserved. That promise hasn't vanished entirely, but it has thinned. Wages still rise, just slowly. Costs rise faster, and they do so quietly. Rent creeps up year after year. Insurance premiums adjust without warning. Healthcare stays unpredictable, even for those who did everything right. None of this feels alarming in a single moment. But over time, it changes the meaning of money. Stability, once a baseline, becomes something you have to actively protect. The modern middle-class life doesn't look extravagant, it looks reasonable. A dependable car, a safe place to live, internet, a phone, insurance, a few subscriptions that make daily life bearable. These aren't luxuries anymore. They're entry requirements, and every requirement comes with a monthly cost. Those costs don't pause when income does. This is where many people quietly slip into the same cycle. Not because they're reckless, but because the system rewards constant motion, not rest. Miss one paycheck and the margin is gone. Miss two and the strain becomes visible. Credit enters not as a threat, but as relief. A way to smooth timing gaps, a way to keep life moving without disruption. At first it feels manageable, temporary, even responsible, but interest doesn't hurry. It waits. Small balances become normal. Normal becomes unseen. Unseen becomes permanent. Eventually, part of the future is already spent before it arrives. In this environment, saving becomes more than a financial habit. It becomes a mental challenge. People say saving is about discipline, but discipline needs room to function. When every dollar already has a job, saving feels less like progress and more like punishment, like removing support from an already strained system. That's why advice often feels out of touch. Not because it's wrong, but because it ignores reality. Telling someone to save without margin is like telling someone to relax while they're holding their breath. Beyond the numbers, there's another pressure that's harder to quantify. The pressure to keep up, to look stable, to avoid slipping behind a standard that's always moving. Social media amplifies this. Success now looks constant. Everyone else seems to be advancing, upgrading, traveling, improving. Comparison carries a cost, not just emotionally, but financially. Many people spend not because they want more, but because standing still feels unsafe. This is where shame quietly enters. People blame themselves for outcomes shaped by long-term structural shifts. They carry stress that was never solely theirs. Most people aren't failing. They're adjusting. They're navigating a system that grew heavier without changing its language. The rules changed quietly. No one explained. Understanding this doesn't fix everything. It doesn't lower prices or erase debt, but it does matter. It replaces confusion with clarity and shame with perspective. And sometimes that shift alone makes the weight easier to hold.